Today we're going to go over how to attack every single site on the map Chalet. If you guys are interested, the full video for every single map is over on my main channel, which is Garfield's Dock. Attacking master / office, there's usually 2 takes that you can do on this side of the map. So let me go on about it. So let's start out with the default master, like the main office wall. So usually if you're pushing for this wall right here, guys, you're going to want to do a library mez split. So this can be very flexible. Ace is going to be, of course, very good on this site. Other operators like Sophia or Gridlock right now is going to be very solid. Your main objective is getting to this main wall. So depending if they're bandit tricking or not will kind of change up how you guys are going to be playing. So you want to split take library, like I said. So you want to get intel on library. If they're playing it like this is pretty default. You're going to have to try to time utility off one another. And if they're really like heavily extended over here to the point where their utility is insane, I would typically rotate to a solar take. And I'll explain what a solar take is after I explain how to attack this. So attacking into this, you guys need to take library control, have some pre-placed cams. What's really solid when people are extending, like defenders, when they're holding down this area pretty hard, you can typically get somebody going highway window to cut off the library take. And this is what I mean. You go on this death belk angle. Let me show you what the death belk or the slant. I feel like I'm having a stroke trying to explain this. This is called slant repel. Okay, guys, if you guys are ever curious, just make sure, you know, that's not open. But basically, you can cut off anybody going top mez, and you can really get a good counter angle here. But playing this highway window overall is going to be very important if they're extending. If you're able to get your teammate down from bottom library into the library stairs, you guys can basically cut off anybody that's coming up here. This is where grenades, ying, candelas, like utility to just push them back is very important, because if you guys are collapsing on this person, then this will open up the somebody to jump in library double window or single, and then usually you just want to push the enemies back to go back into sight. Now if that works and that's successful, you want to just, you know, watch the bottom main on fireplace stairs and maybe gridlock off library. And from here, you would get one of your teammates to probably work or stay on this highway window side. Maybe bring claymores or a nomad or to air jab this off, just so they don't jump out on you. And then this person would basically just be working the people trying to rotate in between sites. And hard breach is, of course, going to go for this main wall. Open it up. You can have somebody working the K9 balcony if you want. And then when you guys are going for a plant on this main wall, just make sure that they're not able to swing from piano to retake this angle. That's the only weak spot I would say. But basically, you would plant on this half wall, and the person that's playing the main breach needs to watch the swing from the other site, being master, from bathroom, all of that good stuff. And yeah, your basically main objective is planning on this little half wall. Now, of course, if you notice that the library extend is going to be too overwhelming, you guys need to go for Solarium. Now, what you do with Solarium is you do a trophy / solar take. But at the same time, you need to have an attacker outside the highway windows. Now, if you're not good on situations like this where they have a bunch of angles, like for example this stupid ass window and jumping out piano, then don't play it. Get somebody else to do it. But basically, what you want to do is get a claymore on the front bathroom jump out and the piano jump out. And something I like to do to make this a lot easier is just play behind the pillar here if this window's open, because somebody will peek it at some point. It's just, you got to be ready. And you got to try to cut off the person that's possibly playing Owl. And if you guys don't know what Owl is, of course, this area is Owl. Now, do I know why it's called Owl? Well, I thought there was an owl. And I don't think there it is. I'm stupid. There's an owl that I just shot. But that's the owl call out if they're playing right here. So typically what I like to do is if I'm able to bring a Capital, I Capital bolt them off and then they are in my line of sight, or they're going to swing the people on Solar Repel. But to actually get inside Solar Repel, what you guys need to do is, of course, get a pre-placed cam in the drone phase inside Solar, or inside Trophy, I mean. And you basically need to get all of this control in Trophy up into this kitchen hallway. Now, you don't really have to worry about dining or anything like that. Of course, they might try to flank or throw a C4. So depending on that, if you're really worried about that, you can bring Gridlock, Claymores, or even get a pre-placed cam, because somebody's definitely going to die at some point. And if you are having a hard time clearing the guy Owl, you can make oh my god, voice crack. You can make Vert on him and cut the guy off. And while that's happening, you can walk up the staircase. The person's on the Solar Repel can, try to repel in, and you guys would basically be working to open up this wall. And since you have somebody that's on the bathroom window, the only way that this person can get a frag is if they're deep on the bookshelf or they're deep in the tub. But from there, you're cutting everybody off and pushing them back. Now, while you guys are executing off of that, meaning you have all this space, you need somebody to rotate to big window to cut off any lines of sight, but only do this if you have like a lot of man advantage, or if you're at an even man advantage, say like a 5v5 or 4v4. Because cutting the people off bookshelf and cutting the people off from closet area is very important, but it's not super needed, but it is a very good angle to have because you can, fight anybody. You just have to be very comfortable playing those repels. Once you guys get up to that solar wall and you guys are opening it and you guys are fighting your way inside bathroom, you guys should be able to get a plant because you guys don't need to push all the way up into, piano to fight. You can literally just hold an angle and cut off anybody rotating to try to retake because people will try to go through closet and whatnot. So you can just try to get a plant like right here, tucked in this corner, or even on the bed. The bed's a little chalked because it's a weird angle to sit in. But yeah, and then if you plant there or like even in the corner, like I said, somebody can rotate even solar repel, and you guys can just play the repel. But yeah, typically those are the areas you guys want to take, you want to cut off, and you want to try to dominate. Now attacking bar, there's two different ways that you can do this, but I would primarily try to just work utility to clear library and take piano control. So what you guys are going to want to do is have people starting library side. So typically I would bring like a Habana because what you usually see on this map is a mirror being played. So with the when you're facing a mirror, you're going to have to work for this soft wall. So just placing 2 pellets here and just trying to work for that just to pop that mirror. Now the rest of your team, they should honestly just be going for the piano office control. Now to do this, you guys are going to need to have somebody playing on this window in slant. You can shoot down this window and you can cut off the person top mez. At the same time, your teammates are going to be droning from trophy side all the way over here to piano. Now, what's really important about when you're attacking this is having cutoff cams at the start, because this is a lot of area that you guys need to like make sure is clear. So just have a cutoff cam like around piano, and then have a cutoff cam probably bottom trophy stairs. Bottom trophy is of course right here, guys, so you guys know, just so you guys can rappel in and take that space. Now while you guys are doing that, you need to get all the way up to office and open up this library hall wall. Once again, there's going to be somebody probably playing on a shield at top library. So playing like a Flores is really good here, or, anybody with grenades. You can just Flores drone, clear that. And then you can basically just force the people that's out of top mez to be pressured just by opening that wall. And you can even get like a soft breacher to open up, the top mez wall. What's very important as well is phantom pressure on this side of the map, guys. So opening up the front lobby door from the get-go, and also opening up this fireplace window. So basically, your main objective is to clear the utility that's here, that's top library, and make sure nobody just comes up the staircase. Now, once you guys clear the guy's top mez, or even if like you know you have a surefire pick, you can jump in, fight the guy, push him back, even drop gridlocks, whatever, or even just take the space on mid plat. And then you just got to worry about the person that might be playing pickle. What ends up happening on this side of the map is usually you don't get a plant down. Usually everybody dies. So opening up this hatch is super important just so you can cut off attackers or defenders, I mean, just trying to rotate. And from here, you can make vertical to cut off any of these annoying angles that people might be playing. So for example, on the B chassis, tucked, etc., etc. And you can work towards trying to take bottom fireplace. This is where the person that was outside opening up, you know, like let's say the Habana opening up the wall or whatever, you creating phantom pressure for mudroom at the start of the round is also important. I forgot to say, my fault. So you would open up this mudroom window, and you would also open up, of course, the main window so nobody can play tucked. And Habana can even work towards opening up the mirror from this window if she wanted to. And the guys that's on vertical, they can actually cut her off on vert if you guys are worried about countering that mirror, because mirror can be pretty scary or irritating to deal with. So if you're trying to figure out where the vert play is, you would play it just right around this area. What's good about this, you can actually see the vert above her, and you know, if she's tucked on the door frame, you know, that's literally the only place that she can really play that you guys can't see. It's all depending on how the round goes, guys. Sometimes you might be able to jump in and plant here on the gaming wall, or you might be able to take bottom fireplace and just run in sight and, you know, try to go for a plant. But once again, this is a very coordinated site, so it's hard to win these attacking rounds. So it really just depends, like I said, on how well you guys can synchronize off one another. It's definitely not a solo queue attack, but if you were solo queuing, that's kind of the routes that you would want to try to make up for. But if you see a gap, like maybe call it out to your teammates. For example, there's no utility in 45 right here, no utility on this front wall, and you notice that all 5 are upstairs. Maybe you can just walk in sight, because that's how siege rounds go sometimes. Okay, now attacking kitchen dining is a little bit similar to bar in terms of like map control. So what you're going to be trying to attack, and the main objective here, is to open up 2 big walls. One being downstairs here in fireplace. You need to try to work for this fireplace wall, and then you guys need to also go upstairs and open up the main wall here on office. Now, to start out the round, what you guys should be trying to do is trying to take 3 areas: lobby control, library, and then top mez. So to start out the round, you should get your teammates droned in library, set up a pre-play somewhere in library, and once they take this space, they just need to watch the library flank from the staircase, have their gun up for anybody rotating, because somebody likes to usually go 45, and just for any of the head holes or anything that might be upstairs on the main office wall. Now, if the enemies aren't controlling this area and they're leaving this soft, they're hurting themselves right off the bat. So you need to open up the main office, main dining wall here, and whoever you're with, it should be somebody that can make vertical play. You guys need to cut off piano and bathroom. So you want to work the highway windows, and in doing so, you should be able to push the enemies back, because this type of defense usually doesn't have people like trying to die here. They'll usually just push back. So once you get this control, you want to make all sorts of vertical on this office. Of course, make sure that you guys have control up to trophy or solarium to trophy stairs. So from here, you would just get somebody to watch the flank, or, you know, gridlock, whatever. And you guys would be making all sorts of vert. If the hatch isn't open, you would open it. And then the second control would be for lobby. Now, having cutoff drones are very important in Siege, as you know. And this specific site is really good for gridlock, specifically because all the staircases. So you have the fireplace stairs. That's very annoying. You can start the round with even getting a teammate to, sledge through a snowmobile or soft reach and just come up the staircase and hold an angle, or even just come through bar stock area from games. And if you guys can cut off this entire area and know that nobody's in this side of the map, then you guys can easily walk up and open up this fireplace wall. So your main objective of the round should be trying to work for vertical, opening the office wall, then possibly the hatch, taking all upstairs control, making sure that they can't go backup trophy and flank, and then open up the fireplace wall. From here, you guys should be able to try to execute a plant just on default. It is honestly really just that simple. It's actually not simple at all. Like, because you might be fighting into a mirror, you might be fighting into all sorts of different annoying operators. So, yeah, that is the base level of how you would attack this. Okay, now, when attacking downstairs basement, there's typically two angles that you can go about this. You can go for a back take, or you can go for a lobby split take. Now, if you're going for the basic lobby take, what's typically pretty good about the lobby take is it's very cut and dry. You're usually just opening up this main breach. So depending on what operators they're bringing, you need to counterpick based on that. So if you need to bring a Maverick and make the wall soft, make a do that. If they easily just bringing a Cade with no Tubero, you can usually just go like a Thermite with even a Twitch, grenades, whatever. Basically, your main objective would just be opening up this main wall, and you guys would be trying to plant on the front breach. Now, what I notice with people that do this, they typically just try to rush. Let's add an extra layer to that. So you would have people working the main breach, and let's bring vertical play. For the people that's bringing vertical play like a Ram or a Buck, you guys actually need to get library and top control, or you can just go games control, but I like to have balcony control here. So what I would bring is maybe like, honestly, like a Buck and a Nomad. Nomad off the double door, Nomad off this deep, or no, this library single. And you guys can cut off all the possible flank from upstairs. And you guys would have to also get somebody to maybe have a pre-placed on blue side, or library side is what I mean. And if you're able to get that person to fill out like kind of like a backstabber, we would call them, they would enter gaming off the bat, and they would walk down and maintain line of sight on blue, on bottom blue here, and they would just hold an angle while everything else is happening in the round. So then Nomad, basically what she can do is she can just air jab off maybe the dining single here, and she can just maintain snowmobile stairs control and just hold the angle while the person is opening up the main breach, and let's say the Buck or Ram, they're making vert all over here. Whatever. And if you guys have a secondary hard breach, you can get, to open up the hatch, which would be absolutely perfect. In terms of vert play, you guys want to cut off, of course, the connector and connector door so they don't just try to retake. Also want to cut off if there's a mirror on this single. What the heck am I doing? On this single right here. And then you have the rotate, and you even have some of the pillar as well. So if you do that, you can typically like attack downstairs. But that's saying if you guys all win your gunfights and all that good stuff. But usually you have to adjust based off of that. But the main purpose of this video is just giving you guys like a template on like what you guys should be picturing, what you guys are doing. Now, if you guys are going for a boiler take, typically what people do when they're going for a boiler take, they still open up the front breach just for phantom pressure. And it's very good because, late in the round you can rotate there if you need to. But your main objective here would be going for boiler, which is right here, taking front garage here, and taking west main and cutting off up to dining. Now, how you do that is you want to start out having, let's say, a Nomad or whoever's your flank watch taking west main control, having a pre-placed around trophy, and you guys need to take off of that, intel. So you would take West Main, air jab off dining, and then you can come walk West Main stairs. Now, it is not that easy. Of course, you're going to have enemies possibly with the trophy hatch popped, or they're going to be extending out in the dining. You need to adjust based off of like what is happening. But for some of you guys are just going to be able to take this map control easy. Now, depending on what hard breaches you're bringing and who, let's say it's an ace, you could just go boiler and just open all the walls just from boiler door. But if you bring, like, let's say a Habana, which is pretty typical, it's typical that you bring 2 hard breaches sometimes on basement, by the way. So if you bring a Habana and, let's say, a Thermite, or a Habana and Ace, or a Habana and somebody of secondary hard breach, Habana can usually get long angle. The problem with getting long angle with a breacher where you have to get up close and personal is that people can shoot your feet when they have the feet hole here. So you can open up this long angle and just hold basically connector. I can't jump up on the truck right now because I'm an idiot, but... Okay. No. Yep. Okay. Nope. I'm an idiot. Okay. Dude, I actually think they patched getting on the truck. Yo, Ubisoft just be changing stuff for no reason. Yo. Okay. Apparently, I think Ubisoft changed that I can't jump up on this truck anymore, but, whatever. So you would basically open up this line of sight and you have the long angle to cut off anybody going connector, which is literally the most heavy foot traffic area when trying to retake. Now, the Thermites or Ace or whoever, they're going to be trying to work boiler door with communicating with the guy going West Main, or if you're solo queue, you're gonna have to visually look at what that idiot's doing. The main purpose of this video overall is just to give people an idea of where their role should be attacking as well. As Ace, you would drone all this out, have your gun up for this door, and then you would just open up this main wall or main boiler wall. And then if you're Ace, you can open the long angle. And you guys can just start dumping util to cut the person off from pillar. So if they're playing the shield or whatever, you can just, cut off any of their util. And then when you're ready for a plant, as long as they're not roaming and dining, you would go for a plant. And it's really that easy. But typically on rounds on basement chalet, what usually happens is it usually just ends up being a 2v2 or 2v1. It's very rare that you're going to get really like close 5v5 with like 30 seconds left. Typically it doesn't happen.